You need to know what fears are holding you back from starting your freelance business. Freelancing, as you'll have heard a lot in my other videos, it can offer you so much. Autonomy, flexibility, but let's not shy away from the realities. Income can be erratic. The benefits are self-sourced. And a constant hustle to find new clients, at least at the start, can be a bit draining. It's a world away from the stability of traditional employment. It can be demanding, it requires exceptional self-discipline and resilience, and if you're serious about making it, you need to face these fears head on. The first is getting started. You can plan all you like or think that you need to have the perfect setup or a bit more experience, or you need to know so much before you start, and a lot of it is just overthinking. Sometimes the best time to start is now, otherwise you'll question everything and may never make that leap. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start small, get a few projects under your belt, and let your experience build your confidence now. The second fear that you might come across is rejection, and this is something that you'll experience in every area of life, and those of you that have worked in sales before will find this easier than others, but not every potential client you choose to speak with will want to speak with you, and not all of them will see your value, not all of them will have the right plan for you to be able to work with them. And quite often it's not personal, it's just sometimes things don't work out, and you need to be okay with dealing with no's and dealing with the rejection. So what can you do about it? Well, you need to learn to take the hit and just move on. Improve your pitch, think about what you could have improved. Sometimes it's not on you and there's nothing you could have done, but each time you get a no, evaluate. Think about how you could do things differently. Even ask them for feedback as to what their reason was for their no. And by doing that enough times and iterating that enough times, you'll find that your close rates will increase and your ability to sell yourself and your services will improve. It takes practice and repetition, and you need to be okay with potentially not being very good at the start. And that's okay. Everyone sucks at the start. The third fear that you might come across in starting your freelancing business is not getting paid. If you're not smart about this, you're going to get screwed. You need to have contracts in place, you need to be assertive in what you expect and when you expect to get paid, and there's nothing worse than putting off doing this and not seeing the money. So what can you do to combat this potential problem? Well, set clear payment terms up front. As I mentioned, have very clear contracts. Make sure your clients know that you are professional and you're not messing around. This isn't you have a phone call and they say they'll pay you at some point and you have an agreement over the phone about what your project is. No, you have it written down, you have a signed contract, you have very clear expectations as to what you need to deliver in order to get paid. And ideally you have a payment system that you're not waiting until the end of a project to get paid, and that you get paid in installments or a bit up front. There's lots of ways to work that out, but just sure whatever it is that it's agreed between the two parties and it's very clear. The fourth fear that you might come across is charging what you're worth. Now, undercharging is something that a lot of freelancers end up doing at the start. It's kind of a rite of passage that you might not quite get it right at the beginning, but you really need to be careful on this, and you really need to be sure that you value yourself correctly. A good way to do this is to research current rates with freelancers and the other job market. You can also check with the clients themselves as to what they normally pay for a certain piece of work. And the other thing to do is to constantly make sure that you're increasing your price as your value increases. So as you get more experience, as even inflation goes up and the economy changes, you need to be increasing your price. And at some point you will find a ceiling as to where you're too expensive and getting less work. That's where you know the limits. At the start, you really just want to be focused on getting your first projects, but be careful not to undervalue yourself. Another fear that you might come across is saying no. you can't say yes to everything. And there will be clients that want you to do that extra little thing or to do that thing that's outside of what you've agreed. You need to say no. Value yourself and your time. Your time has a price tag, especially when you're selling it. So be really careful about what you agree to, and make sure everything that you've agreed is written down, so that any time that you get asked to do something outside those boundaries, you say, that was not in our agreement. If you want me to do that, you're gonna have to pay me more. It takes a while to get that level of assertiveness and be that disciplined with clients. You need to deliver it with finesse so you're not rude, but you do need to protect your time and energy, and that means that you save extra time that you have around for other projects, and other clients can utilize your top skills. Another fear that you might have is that freelancing is unpredictable. If you're not prepared, it will be. There will be ups and downs. You'll be having periods of loads of work and periods of no work, and then if you've got bills to pay, this can be a real mind fuck, and it can really stress you out. So if you plan ahead and you book clients well in advance, you can ensure that you've got work covered for at least 6 months ahead of time, sometimes more. It really comes down to your level of planning and your level of marketing yourself and reaching out in advance. Of course, you're going to get a lot of clients coming at once, as sometimes happens, especially like what I do in events, it's quite seasonal. You'll get a huge influx of clients at certain times and less at other times, but if you plan well enough in advance, you can really get past this and it won't be a problem. And one of the main overarching solutions to all of your fears will be to join online communities, take some online courses, get around people that are already doing it, and learn as much as you can from them. A lot of fear comes from ignorance. So if you outlearn your self-doubt and your fear, you'll realize that a lot of those fears were just, there was no point having them, and it really just came down to a lack of knowledge. A lot of the concerns about starting a business, someone else will have had before you, and I guarantee you that there's a lot of free resources out there, a lot of online available help from educators, social media gurus, YouTube channels, you name it, they're out there. You just need to put the time in to find them and to go through those resources. I personally talk about freelancing, wealth building, and personal development on this channel and in my free newsletter. So if you want more on any of those areas, like, subscribe, and follow for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.